All right, thank you. And thank you guys for having me here. And I wanted to say congratulations to Lindy. I hope that there's a lot of gardening and rainwater collecting that continues in your future. And congratulations to Julia. It's always nice to hear some good news with all that's going on these days. So us at the Water Development Board, we are still working from home and we will be for the foreseeable future. So just like Leah, we've had the chance to test out all of the virtual meeting platforms that are available. And I've got to say, I'm getting a little tired of meeting virtually. So I hope that sometime soon we can all see each other in person again. So some updates from the Water Development Board. I'll start with some regional water planning updates. Currently, the draft regional water plans or initially prepared plans are under review at the Water Development Board. And our groundwater staff has reviewed those for consistency with the groundwater availability and modeled available groundwater. So those are all done and comments will be going out to groups in, I think, end of June, early July for those. And something that our planning folks also wanted me to share with you guys was that they are currently going to be developing their non-municipal demand projections. And these include irrigation demands, which the methodology used to come up with those demands is limited by MAGs. And so they're asking for, MAGs to be done a little bit sooner than normal, which would be fall 2020, and that all depends on the Water Development Board. But if anyone wants to, anyone whose irrigation demand projections impact them as a district, it could be a good idea to try and get DFCs done a little bit sooner. And I also wanted to mention that I have a handout that's in your handout page that includes a little bit more information about the stuff that I'm showing in this presentation, if you want to look at that. Okay, why is not going forward? Okay, technical difficulty here for a second. Well, I'm not sure why I can't go full screen anymore, but we'll just do it this way.
I think it works fine, Natalie.
It's okay, okay. Okay, so groundwater availability model updates. This is just a reminder for any new people in the group that our groundwater availability models, or GAMs, are regional tools that are intended to use on a regional scale, so for joint groundwater planning mostly. And if you are interested in using our regional models for local analysis, just proceed with caution, because most of those models that we have currently, the grid size isn't really catered towards use on a local scale. So just wanted to throw out that caution for anyone who's using GAMs on a district level. Sometimes you can base local models on our regional tools and then kind of get in a finer detail, but sometimes that's not possible. So anyway, just proceed with caution if you're using our GAMs on a local scale. And this hasn't changed since the updates I gave in January. We currently have 3 contracted GAMs in the works. The Northern Carrizo-Wilcox project, that's in the home stretch. It should be wrapped up here pretty soon. And then we also have our Southern Carrizo Aquifer project and our Cross Timbers Aquifer, and those are just kicking right along. We also have some in-house GAMs. I see that the Blossom Aquifer there says March 2020. That is currently under review, and it's obviously beyond March. Perhaps it got slowed down with us being slowed down a little bit. We also have the Gulf Coast Aquifer that is currently in development, and we'll probably have a stakeholder meeting for that in hopefully the end of summer about. And the conceptual model, a reminder, that's for GMAs 15 and 16, and hopefully a conceptual model will be available for review before that stakeholder meeting. And we have the Northern Edwards, Balcones Fault Zone, and Trinity Aquifers, along with the Edwards Trinity Plateau, Trinity and Pecos Valley aquifers, and the Trinity Hill Country, all future projects. For those last two there, we had a stakeholder meeting, I guess about a month ago. And so that's moving along. And we also have some future GAM projects. The pumping research and the recharge and groundwater surface water interaction research, those will be focused on the study area for the Edwards Trinity Plateau, Trinity Pecos Valley aquifers, just to help us get the best data that we can to develop that model. And then we also have, we're going to contract some work for the Marathon Aquifer conceptual model, and that's one of the aquifers that doesn't have a groundwater availability model yet. So we'll be just checking them off the list. Almost all aquifers will have models by then. And I also wanted to mention too that the USGS is currently developing a Gulf Coast aquifer model called GULF. And it's the USGS and Harris Galveston Subsidence District. And the Water Development Board has kind of entered into an arrangement with them to ensure that that becomes an official GAM. So we've been involved in a stakeholder meeting last week or a couple of weeks ago, and are kind of involved in that project so we can make sure it becomes a GAM. And then fieldwork, as many of y'all is probably happening with y'all, fieldwork has definitely gone down for us. Now is about the time, or March was about the time that we would start doing our water quality sampling. And so that's been kind of put on hold, and we've had to reevaluate where we're going to be traveling for that water quality, because there's been no fieldwork happening since March. And we were also going to kick off our spring sampling program in March, and that got delayed as well. But we're working on a way to get our staff back in the field to continue those sampling and to do some recorder well maintenance. I know that Chuck Crawford has been doing what he can in day trips for recorder wells, but overnight trips are still a no-go for us. So we'll have to keep our trips to local places. So our spring sampling program, we're very excited about this program, and we have kind of a plan in place. We have some first initial springs that we want to go sample. The first round includes Gorman Spring in San Saba County and Park and Pleasant Valley Springs in Hays County. And our monitoring staff is working on contacting landowners and other entities for additional springs. So hopefully they can get out here pretty soon to start that program going. So for aquifer storage and recovery and aquifer recharge, this was a legislative report that the Water Development Board has to produce, and it's a statewide suitability study for ASR and aquifer recharge. And it is moving fast and furious. I think that this week there have been 3 meetings about it, workshops, and what the progress is, what kind of progress is being made on it. So that'll be, it looks like a really interesting study, and they're putting a lot of thought into it. And then Brack Studies, there are currently 2 studies that are underway. The Upper Coastal Plain Central Aquifers and the Trinity Hill Country Aquifer is in progress. And those will be posted on our website once those are completed. And then as a result of the $1.6 million that the legislature gave to the BRACS program, or Brackish Aquifer Characterization System, we have requests for qualifications to help collect technical data so that we can move forward with the Brack studies for the Edwards Trinity Plateau and the Upper Coastal Plains East aquifers. And then amazingly, we are hiring still, so we're going to take advantage of it before anything happens in terms of budget cuts. So one new employee that we have who's starting next week is Kayla Shearhart. And I imagine some of y'all might have met her before. I haven't had a chance to meet her yet. I've heard her on the phone, but she comes to us from Hays Trinity Groundwater District, and she has also worked at Bandera County River Authority. And so we're really excited to have her on our team. We'll see how it goes onboarding a new staff member remotely, but I think it'll go pretty well. So we're excited to have her. We will also have 2 new GAM modelers starting, one in June and one hopefully by the end of summer. We are also going to be hiring a recorder program specialist. For any of y'all who know Chuck Crawford, you know how hard he works to maintain that program. And so it'll be really great to give him a little bit of help on that recorder program. And then John Meyer was on the Brack's team, and he was he just knew everything there was about groundwater. He's truly a groundwater guru. And he retired in April. I think he got home and saw that we were going to be working from home for a while and said, I'm out of here. So we're sad to see him go, but it's definitely a well-deserved retirement. And so we'll be hiring a new geoscientist to fill that position sometime soon. And that's all I have. Does anyone have any questions?